Hi guys, remember this? This is the BEIN Sport satellite receiver. And if you watched the previous video, and I guess you did, otherwise why would you be watching this one? I was having problems repairing this thing. Basically, I made a lot of investigations on the scrap one and figured out that this chip here is responsible for controlling the power supply into the LNB. Which was interesting because I'm assuming this actually changes the voltage of this supply here. We have 250 volt capacitors, but if you watch the video on the scrap one, the voltage on the power supply wasn't changing, but the voltage on the LNB was changing. And I actually measured on a capacitor down here somewhere, and I can see that the voltage does change, okay? But this, I think, is not like a buck converter. When we looked at the datasheet for this chip, this is a boost converter. And I've got a feeling that the reason why I couldn't see any change in the voltage here was because effectively the increased voltage is the other side of this diode and the boost converter. I can get the datasheet back on screen again. We can have another quick look and then I'll tell you what's going on with this now. So here is a functional block diagram, typical application if you like. And if you look, actually this is not a buck converter. If it was a buck converter, apart from it telling you there it is a boost converter, that's a clue. But if it was a buck converter, this end of the coil would have MOSFET that switches between VS, voltage supply, let's say 12 volts, and ground, a high side and a low side MOSFET. And we would repeatedly keep switching this end of the coil between 12 and ground, 12 and ground, or 12 and 0, 12 and 0. And that repeatedly magnetizes the coil, okay? And then when we stop the current flowing in, this end goes to 0, the current still flows around in the same direction while it demagnetizes the coil and it charges the capacitor. So if we have a 12 volt supply, we can, by altering the amount of magnetic field that builds up, that's the on time of the high side MOSFET compared to the low side, generate a voltage less than 12 volts. So 12 volts in, 0.95 out to your GPU, that sort of thing. Now, when I looked at this, I was measuring the voltage here on this coil, either end, and I said that this is always 12 volts or close. It doesn't change, maybe by a tenth of a volt or so, but it doesn't really change. But the voltage on the LNB is switching from 13 to 18. And I said, well, I thought this would have changed here. Yeah. But now I can see why it doesn't change. So this is a completely different circuit. And this looks like a PFC circuit and something like an ATX power supply, if you ever look. So in this case, we have 12 volts permanently on this end of the coil. And the other end we can connect to ground via this internal MOSFET and this resistor. This will be a low value resistor to ground. This is a current sense. I'm sure that's exactly what that is for. So every time we switch this on, we ground this end of the coil. Electricity, or rather current, flows in from 12 to ground. This magnetizes up, and then when we switch this end off, the current, if you like, as the field then collapses in the inductor, continues to flow in the same direction. And at the point we switch this MOSFET off, we get a higher voltage on this end of the coil than this end. That's what's called the back EMF of the coil. It's while the magnetic field rapidly collapses. And what happens to that boosted voltage, that spike? Well, it comes through this Schottky diode here and charges the capacitor. Or in this case, there's two capacitors on there. Charges the capacitor. Once the magnetic field here has collapsed, this is back down to 12 volts either end. Now it's just a piece of wire. There's no current flowing through because this is off. And the capacitor holds more voltage in here. But the diode, the Schottky diode, will not pass current that way. So the capacitor will not discharge. Now we switch this back on again. We magnetize the coil again. We switch it off and we let it fly back this way again and charge the capacitor again. So by switching this on and off, we effectively put a higher voltage on here than here. And that's how we're getting the 13.5 or 18 volts supply to the LNB that we could see. This is why I probed around and said, oh, I can find a capacitor. It was a black thing. It could have been a diode actually, and probably was this diode. On this end, I can see the voltage switching between 13.5 and 18, and on the coil it wasn't switching. The circuit was working, okay? So that solves that little mystery, if you like. I didn't think at the time it was a mystery. I just didn't worry too much about it, but that's the reason. Now you'll notice this capacitor or pair of capacitors were quite close to the metal shielding around the tuner. That's this one and probably this one as well. Certainly this one seems to be next to the thing I measured the 18 volts on, which I think we may find as a diode. Well, it has a stripe on one end and it's not exactly marked like a capacitor. This PJ403D. We can have a look. I think that is a diode. Well, that doesn't exactly find what I'm looking for. But there's another number on this, which is SS14, and I suspect that's the actual one I want. Yeah. Okay, so this is that component, and this is a diode, okay? So SS14, yeah, surface mount Schottky barrier rectifier. So now we know why we had a switching voltage on here, the same as the LNB. And that diode is most likely the one we can see on that typical application. So that explains why the voltage on this wasn't changing. Now, if you watch the video, you'll know I mentioned when I removed the metal cover from the one I was trying to repair, that I must have got more heat in than the other one because the capacitors had bulged. Okay, but what I didn't show on video, that would have been nice to refer back to, is whether those capacitors were faulty to start off with. This was the worst one. I didn't look actually, I just took the board out and warmed it up and got this off. And I think that's actually very relevant to what was happening with this, because when I went out to do the job at the bar, he told me he had no signal. But he says at night, after about 8 o'clock, I get no signal. And then the next day it might be working. And when I went out, it actually was working. I had a signal. So I went up to the dish. The dish alignment was fine. I couldn't get a single bit of extra signal out of it. The LNB, which has to be skewed at an angle, was not quite the right angle, so I skewed it a little bit more and I got maybe 10% more signal. I came back down and I said, is it working now? He says, no, I've got no signal now. So I had a look, oh yeah, he's got no signal. And I'd spotted on the roof that the LNB, the front plastic cover, was split around the perimeter. Now that usually happens here because we have very intense sun. Our UV index in summer is like 11. I don't know if it even goes to 12 maybe. It's high. The UV index in the UK, for example, never gets as high as here. It can't, because our sun in midsummer solstice is just 2 degrees off the vertical. We're 2 degrees above the Tropic of Cancer. So the Tropic of Cancer on the midsummer's day gets the sun vertically ahead, and the Tropic of Capricorn on the winter solstice in the southern hemisphere gets the sun directly overhead. So anywhere in the tropics, quick bit of geography, between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, we'll have the sun directly overhead at least once a year. Yeah, and by the time of the equator, it's always directly. So anyway, upshot is our sun is directly overhead and things get baked. Yeah. So I then changed the LNB because with these splits in the cover, sometimes you can have a problem where moisture gets inside there, condensation, and I'm thinking, oh, well, actually, you know, about 8 o'clock in the evening, we get like an inversion here. So the land's cooling down, but the sea can't warm up or cool down. Its thermal mass is so high that the temperature doesn't vary. It varies a bit over the whole year, but it doesn't vary day to night. Okay, so we get an inversion. The sea is now warmer than the land. This guy is right near the coast and a bar in a resort, so the wind direction changes and comes off the sea on land until it kind of like bounces up the temperature again. It's called an inversion. So we get a onshore wind, can be quite strong for about an hour or so around sunset, sort of a bit before, a bit after, and then it goes to normal. And that onshore breeze brings more moisture, so that gets in the LNB and the LNB stops working. So I changed the LNB and I came down and said, have you got a signal? He says, no. So I checked on the cable. I said, well, my satellite meter says you've got a signal. Put his receiver on, no signal. And at this point he said, oh, I've got another receiver at the house, but I haven't subscribed it for over a year. I said, go and fetch it. So he went and fetched it and plugged it in, and straight away he had a signal. So this receiver now has no signal, his other one has a signal. And he said to me, Richard, you went up onto the roof. Before you went up there I had a signal, and now I don't. It's something you've done. To which I said, well, the reason you call me out is every day you've got a signal, and then around 8 o'clock you get no signal. And I don't come around here every day around 8 o'clock, do I? So therefore it's nothing to do with me. So that's the end of the long story. That's why the receiver's here. Upshot of all this, I took the tuner cover off, and what did I say? These capacitors are all bolts. I've taken the ones off the scrap one and put them in because the other ones have gone. I showed them, yeah. And that's why it appears Richard has magic fingers. I don't think Richard has magic fingers at all. I think Richard has fixed this by changing these capacitors. Let me show you. And the other thing, do you remember from the previous video, I said that my satellite dish wasn't working. So 1 week to the day after I asked if they could go and fix it, because I don't have access to the roof, the guy came, who I reminded 3 times last week, and he said yes, he actually came and he fixed my dish. So the satellite dish is now working. I'm sure that's going to make this rather easier than we had before. Well, it says software update. They always do this when they first switch on. Updating system time. BEIN Sports 4. And we have a picture. Okay.
15 million euros here. Cost rent to join from.
I just blocked out the bit where you can see the card number, by the way, otherwise this thing would get switched off. I'm sure we don't want that. So you can see this actually works. Yeah, it's working now. And I'm confident it'll keep on working. I'm fairly confident what the problem was. You see that code at the bottom, by the way, that code number, yeah, that's on the screen at the moment. That appears in different places on the screen, and that is an encrypted version of the card number. And this is where Spanish TV companies go around to the bars getting these numbers and getting people's boxes switched off. So when I see it, actually say when you see it, you don't see it because I've covered it up again. Okay. Anyway, basically problem solved. Satellite receiver works. I know his dish was working because it worked fine on my satellite meter, and it would seem that the problem was these capacitors and probably change of temperature into the evening, or it might be something stupid like in the evening this thing's sitting on top of his PA amplifier, by the way. So in the evening he probably puts the speakers on loud for the football, the amplifier gets hotter, and the thing went off. Okay. Anyway, quick follow. You can see it does work. you can see that the voltage I was taking around that funny component, which I thought had no supply, obviously it does work because the thing's working, and all's well that ends well. So guys, that video was recorded 2 days ago on Monday. It's now Wednesday. So yesterday I went to get my hair cut, and while I was down in that area, the bar was near, so I actually took in the satellite receiver back, and it was working. We connected to his dish, it worked, and then he sent me a message after 8 in the evening, says it's still working, and then he sent me a message today, it opened up and it's still working. So that appears to be fixed. That's very good. So you're thinking, what's this? Well, I mentioned in the first video that the guy had another box, the one he brought to the bar, and this had a signal when the one I have now fixed didn't have a signal. So he then tried to put a subscription on the card because it's not been subscribed for a year, and basically it was not giving any message, it just wouldn't do anything. So he went to a scrambled channel, it was just blank. Normally if there's no subscription on the card, it says basically to call a number to subscribe your card, telephone number, and he wasn't seeing that message. In fact, he was seeing nothing, just a blank screen. He had quite a bit of a backwards and forwards with the guy who put the subscription on for him. They've kind of fell out over it now, to be quite honest. And basically he said it was my fault again. Well, you know, I had a signal and now I don't, blah de blah, this box isn't working, blah de blah. So when I took another box back, that is working, and I collected this one. So while he had this one, one of the things I suggested he did was to take the smart card out. So he took the card out, and I said just wipe the contacts and put it back in. He says, it tells me there's no card inserted. I said, well, is it in the right way round? Yes, don't be stupid. Okay, so try it the other way around. It says no card inserted. I said, well, it must be in the right way around at least once now. So it's not reading the card. So this is another video, guys, another one. So he has a subscription on this. He's just put the subscription on and it's not working. And it's saying there's no card inserted. So that's the next video on this topic. I think I have one in between, something interesting to talk about, and then we'll look at this. Ciao for now, guys.